The NBA Finals in the bubble has concluded. The NBA offseason began just after that, and NBA teams were able to get a hold of their young talent from the draft, and most importantly, teams made some huge moves during the NBA free agency period, and we are now 4 days away from the start of the 2020-21 NBA regular season. So, considering these events, obviously NBA fans are already predicting who will place where regarding the NBA seeding and who will win the NBA Finals. And now we are here today with my predictions as to who I think will place where in the NBA regular season. Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Eli 5 back at you guys with another video, and the NBA season is right around the corner as we are 4 days away from the NBA season starting back up in session again, and us NBA fans are really hyped and we are really looking forward to what this NBA season has to bring for the table in order to entertain us fans in general. But before this NBA season starts, I wanted to give you guys my predictions as to who I think will place where in regards to the NBA seeds 1 through 8 in each conference. I'm gonna be breaking down all of my opinions, everything that I think, and like I said, this is all my opinions. So if your favorite team doesn't make the cut in regards to the seeds 1 through 8 in each conference, no hard feelings. That's just what I think in my personal opinion. If you guys think something else, then they are entitled to your opinion. But other than that, let us get into today's video. Now, first things first, before today's video begins, I'm going to give you guys a quick disclaimer. I'm going to be breaking this video up into two parts, one part being the Western Conference predictions and the other part being the Eastern Conference predictions. So in today's video, I'm going to be predicting the Western Conference teams, and the other part I'm going to be predicting the Eastern Conference teams. But other than that, let us start predicting. Now, to start things off, for the first seed, I really feel like it's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers. They just won a championship. The dynamic duo of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they pulled it out to win their 17th NBA championship for the Lakers franchise. And evidently, if you look at their roster, they acquired two of the best six men of the league last season in regards to Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell. So if you look at their roster, they apparently got better than they were last year. And I mean, like I said, roster on paper doesn't mean everything, but that's all we had to decipher from right now. And if you're looking at just the roster in general, they obviously became a better team, and last year they were the first seed. So I really wouldn't doubt the fact that they're going to be a back-to-back first seed this season. And LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're looking hungry for a second championship. You already know Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, the top two best six men in the league, they're looking hungry for a championship as well. So first seed comes for the Lakers, and moving on. Now for the second seed, I think it's going to be the Los Angeles Clippers locking up this second seed spot. And coming into this season, the Los Angeles Clippers, obviously they have a lot to prove this season, because last season they blew a 3-1 lead and they were expected to go to the conference finals before they blew that 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets, who were underdogs. And looking at their roster this season, they lost some pieces and got some pieces in return. They just lost Landry Shamet, and they were able to acquire Luke Kennard from the Detroit Pistons. So if you look at Luke Kennard and Landry Shamet, they're pretty much the same player. They shoot a lot of threes and they basically knock down shooters in regards to that standpoint. But in my opinion, I really feel like Luke Kennard's a better player than Landry Shamet in general. So I really feel like they got a little bit of an upgrade in that standpoint. And obviously they just lost Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers, so they were able to get Serge Ibaka from the Toronto Raptors. And looking at that, Serge Ibaka and Montrezl Harrell, they kind of play in a similar fashion, but I feel like Serge Ibaka can bring slightly more to the table as he's able to stretch the floor from three, as Montrezl Harrell couldn't shoot threes at all last season. So I really feel like the Clippers, they made some great moves this whole season, but I really feel like they're going to be able to just lock up that second seed like they did last season. Now for the third seed, I think it's going to be the Denver Nuggets. Now we already know what Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray is going to bring to the table. They surprised everybody last season in that playoff run they had, that phenomenal, spectacular playoff run, coming back from down 2-3-1 leads. But I don't think they're going to be able to make the second or first seed. I really feel like their ceiling this season is going to be the third seed. Obviously they have Michael Porter Jr., who played outstanding in the playoffs, and who knows, Michael Porter Jr., he could potentially have a breakout year next season. I have high hopes of Michael Porter Jr., and just look out for Michael Porter Jr. He could really be that big contributing factor as to why the Denver Nuggets can win a championship, or possibly win a championship in the next 4 or 5 years or something like that. But as of right now, the Denver Nuggets have a very bright future. They need to keep their stars intact and develop their players, the young players that they have right now. Obviously they lost Jeremy Grant, who was a very great player for them last season, but I really feel like the players they have now, they could fill in the gaps to replace Jeremy Grant, stuff like that. But out of with everything that I've just mentioned so far, the Denver Nuggets will lock up that 3rd seed in my opinion. And moving on. Now for the 4th seed, this may be a little bit controversial, but for the 4th seed, I have the Utah Jazz coming as the 4th seed. Obviously, they fell to the 6th seed last season, but I really think they can improve because if you look at last season, they were around that 4 and 5 seed range for a majority of the season, but that was before Bojan Bogdanovic, who was a great contributing factor for them being that up high in the seedings in the first place last season, and then evidently when he got hurt, they started playing bad all of a sudden. But this year, they got Bojan Bogdanovic back and fully healthy, and I really feel like Bojan Bogdanovic, he could really be that providing factor and that great contributor to give the Utah Jazz a push in order for them to be the 4th seed this season. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell, you already know what he's going to bring to the table. Rudy Gobert is a very great defensive player, and Jordan Clarkson, he plays very good off the bench for this team, but I mean, they blew a 3-1 lead last year, so evidently they got a lot to prove, that like the Clippers do last year. But I mean, I really feel like they could lock up that 4th seed. And coming as the 5th seed, I got the Houston Rockets. I really don't think this team's going to be able to do this good this season. I really think they're going to be first round exits in a playoff this season due to their circumstances that they have as of right now. I mean, obviously we know James Harden wants out. He's already provided with potential destinations that he wants to go to in regards to him being traded from the Houston Rockets and stuff like that. And they have John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, who, I mean, they so far look good in the preseason, but it's only preseason, so we can't really decipher from them games. But other than that, James Harden, the main moral of the story is that James Harden wants out, and that's their best player, their star player. And obviously, if a player wants out and he's still playing on the same team that he doesn't want to play for, the chemistry is going to be a little bit off. And due to that standpoint, I really don't think this team's going to be able to be that good this season, and I really feel like they're going to be falling to the 5th seed. And I mean, they can't prove me wrong. They can't surprise everybody and possibly make a big push in the playoffs or something like that and make a big push in the seedings, but I highly doubt it and stuff like that. And I really think, I mean, there's a potential possibility that James Harden could possibly be traded during the season. I highly doubt it, but there's a possibility of that too. But other than that, they're the 5th seed in my books. Now coming in at the 6th seed, I have the Dallas Mavericks. Now the Dallas Mavericks, they didn't really do too much with their roster. They lost a couple players. They lost Seth Curry, which was a knockdown shooter, but obviously speaking, Kristaps Porzingis, he gotten injured last year in the playoffs and stuff like that, so he's coming off an injury and right now, and we already know what Luka Doncic is going to bring to the table. But I mean, looking at how good Luka Doncic is, looking at the team in general, I really don't think this team's going to be able to push higher than the 6th seed. Their ceiling, in my opinion, is the 6th seed. I really don't think this team is ready to compete yet, but obviously they do have a bright future. Luka Doncic, I mean, right now he's pulling up Michael Jordan stats. He's a generational talent, it seems like right now. He's looking like the future star player for this team for a very long time as of right now. But as of right now, looking at the team structure, they're not ready to make that deep playoff push right now. I'm looking at another first round exit for the 2nd straight season for this team. But in a few years, you got to watch out for the Dallas Mavericks, because this team is really going to be able to put it on a show for us in a few seasons. They got to get their players right. They got to develop their players a little bit more, and hopefully they're going to be able to win a championship sometime soon, or possibly sometime soon. I really don't know, but as of right now, their ceiling is going to be the 6th seed in my opinion. Now for the 7th seed, I got the Portland Trailblazers. Now, last season, the Portland Trailblazers, they fell to the 8th seed, and now this season, I got them advancing one more seed in regards to this season. Now, they acquired a couple pieces that were great for this team. They acquired Robert Covington. They acquired some other pieces. I don't remember who the other pieces were, but they acquired some pieces, and they got Carmelo Anthony back. They already got Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, who are the 2-star players of this team. And I really feel like I really don't think this team's gonna be this good this season. I mean, they still got a lot of holes to fill in regards to their roster, but they're gonna still be a playoff team in my opinion, just a borderline playoff team. I mean, Robert Covington could bring a lot of great things for this team, but I mean, that's not good enough to make them past the 7th seed. I really feel like this team is gonna be a 7th seed ceiling, and maybe they could push for a higher seed in a few seasons, a few years, or so forth. But they really gotta figure out something fast, because Damian Lillard is gonna be out of his prime. He's already getting older and stuff like that. So hopefully they'll figure something out pretty soon. But as of right now, I got them as the 7th seed. Now for the 8th seed, this was a very hard choice in my opinion. There are so many teams that could make the 8th seed. I mean, you guys should already know the teams in regards to Suns, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, and stuff like that. But I had to come out with the team. I had to come out with the final prediction, and my final prediction was the Phoenix Suns. Now, obviously, Steph Curry came back for the Warriors, but Klay Thompson being out for the season is gonna hurt them a lot. And I really feel like due to Klay Thompson being out, I really don't think the Warriors are gonna be able to make the playoffs. But if they make the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. If the Suns don't make the playoffs, I have the Warriors making the playoffs instead. But if the Suns make the playoffs, I have the Warriors missing the playoffs just by a little bit. Now, looking at the Suns case, they have a lot of good things coming their way. I feel like they have one of the brightest futures in the league. Devin Booker is really a young stud right now. DeAndre Ayton, we already know what he's gonna bring to the table. He's a young stud. He's a really great center for this team. And looking at those circumstances, they add one more veteran star player in regards to Chris Paul, who really put on a show for the Oklahoma City Thunder last season. Shout out to Chris Paul for helping my Oklahoma City Thunder team defy all odds last season, making the playoffs when they were predicted to not make the playoffs. But that's a discussion for another day. But now looking at the Phoenix Suns case, I really feel like they needed one more player that could be a great contributing factor as to why this team could potentially make the 8th seed this season. I mean, last season, if you look at their case last season, they didn't play as bad as everybody thought they did. I mean, as everybody think they did, because if you look at the beginning of last season, they started off the season 6-3, 6-2, one of that, and then that's when around the time DeAndre Ayton got suspended, and then they played bad. And then if you look at the bubble, they were the only undefeated team that made it, that won every game and lost 0 times. They won 8 straight games in the NBA bubble and lost 0 times, and they added another veteran player star in regards to Chris Paul. So I really feel like this team's gonna be able to make the 8th seed this season. But looking at their circumstances they have right now, I really feel like this team could push to be a contender in a few years. Watch out for the Phoenix Suns. I really feel like they're gonna be able to be a really great team one of these years, in a few years, sooner than later. But other than that, that will complete my predictions for the Western Conference. Let me know what you guys think about my predictions in the comment section below. And part 2 of this video, which entails my Eastern Conference predictions, is something that you guys should stay tuned for. But other than that, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm out. Peace.